y'all. Welcome back to my channel. Yeah, so we are now up third video for the day. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, this next story that we're going to talk about, I would not have ever thought that this would be something we would even be discussing in the year 2024 for this particular individual. And as you can see by the picture, you can probably already tell who that may be. But we're going to get into it a little bit. But, I hope that you're doing well. And if this is the first time you're seeing me today, I hope you've had a great day thus far. Also, just to share that I do have some other videos that popped up earlier today. And so if you haven't gotten a chance to take a look at some of those, go ahead and take a look at that after this video. And yeah, because I want to know your thoughts, and we're going to just keep moving along. Now, this story is actually going to be, well, this video, I should say, is going to actually consist of two stories because they're so closely related in the sense of talking about one central person. So just to give a little bit of a context to that, and even my thoughts even surrounding that before we just get right into the stories is, 2024 has definitely been the year of not only just accountability for a lot of people, but realization and true focus on what's important in life and what isn't. And it's definitely the year of the chickens are coming home to roost. I mean, there's a lot going on. We all know about it. You'd have to literally be under a rock to not know what's going on in our world today, as far as all of the different individuals who are really being called to the carpet, for things that have happened over a certain period of time or just since they've been known to us. So I just really didn't think that J-Lo would be one of those individuals. Quite frankly, I've always enjoyed J-Lo's movies. I think she does great rom-coms. I never thought of anything much more than that. I didn't really hear a lot of the things that I'm hearing about now. There seems to be a lot of disgruntled people in some situations, but then some maybe not so disgruntled. Because, at first it is what makes you think that, there's just some people who are upset about something. Maybe they didn't quite like, but nothing, really is an issue here. But I don't know. And I would love to know your thoughts. Is it a bit of a pile-on? Is it one of those things that once something gets out about someone, it's not very favorable? Everybody else wants to kind of jump on that bandwagon, or is there really truth to that situation? And, at the end of the day, there has been so many reports from different individuals, whether they've worked with, worked for, worked alongside, knew for a minute, knew from back in the day. And not to mention those things that have been, you'll just say commandeered from other individuals. So it's kind of hard to know, but I don't necessarily think disgruntled is necessarily what it is. And, a lot of times when we say disgruntled, we're thinking about it as a negative thing to the person who actually has an issue. And that may not be the case at all. But I tell you, it's just not been a good year, though, for J-Lo. It has not been a good year. And, yeah, so I just love to know your thoughts about that. Throw it in the comments. Let me know. Have you been keeping up with any of this? What are your thoughts about this? You feel one way or another? Because there's a lot of things that are coming out that I would never really expect to have heard. Like I said, I enjoy the rom-coms. The music is, is okay. Yeah. But I'm really there. I like the movie. So, but we're just hearing so much about that even. And I really don't want to go into back and forth about that. I really want to just concentrate on what we're talking about here in this video. So, because there's a lot there. Let me tell you, there is a lot there. And sometimes, what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. So, I'm kind of also one of those individuals that said, look, people can't all be saying the same thing and be wrong. So, yeah, I guess all things alleged as far as I'm concerned, because, I don't know one way or another. And beyond some of the reports that I hear, but it is a lot. And yeah, I just would never, ever thought that would be something I would hear anything about this year. And then not to mention, as if everything professionally is challenging at the moment, now we're also looking at personally. So, when you're talking about having all facets of your life on display for the world, and you're going through all those emotions at the same time as everybody else is kind of really looking and seeing and peering to see how you're going to act and deal with it. It's got to be a lot. I would not wish that on anyone. So, yeah, but sometimes we'll say the phoenix rises, so we'll just see what happens, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know her personally, and I just be here for the rom-coms. So the music again. So yeah. So let's get into this video, okay? Um, all right, so let's get into it because I just want to get your opinions on this. But yeah, I was kind of shocked a little bit. But like I said, this is a two for. So we are going to start off with apparently. Oh, I don't want to start off with that one. Let's start off with. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's minimize that. And yeah, because this one I don't know, I was kind of shocked about this one. Maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know. I tell you, there's a lot I did not know and realize, but yeah. Oh, so yeah, as we know, there's a lot of things, chatter going on about and accounts being made and shared along with individuals. And of course, I'm not going to be the one to say, one way or another how it is. So I have to say alleged because, I don't know of those things to be. But, everybody has the right to tell their story. Everybody has the right to tell their truth. So, look, again, when there's things that you have to address and deal with, you got to address and deal with them. At the end of the day, there's always this saying that basically you got to watch who you step on the way up. Is you may have to see them as you're falling and tumbling down. And that's true in everybody's life, in every walk of life. And I don't know if that's going to be the case here for J-Lo, but, that's something that kind of remnants is in my mind. At the end of the day, you got to really be careful and let that be a lesson learned, right? That you have to really be careful on how you treat people, because you never know when something is going to come about where you may have to deal with or face that situation. Now, is every report that we're hearing, is everything factual? Is everything true? Is all these things happen? Who knows? But I just know there's a lot of them, and there's, been individuals that have collaborated some of that. So I guess as time goes on, we will see how all of this pans out. I'm kind of interested to see how the end of the year will come. I'm not trying to get to the end of the year because I'm not trying to, rush my life or anything, but I am interested to see how this year, kind of wraps up with some of the things that are coming out in this situation. Is J-Lo's career professionally, is it going to be able to continue to survive beyond this year? I mean, I personally think that, sticking to the movies probably would have been a really good, safe bet to do. I think, diving into the music was probably not necessary. But who am I to say not to do your gift, right? Who am I to say that you should not go and pursue the type of endeavors you want to pursue? I mean, that's up to you if you want to do that. But then, of course, with that being in mind, you also take the consequences, whether they're good or bad, along with the situation. And I also think that it's always important to listen to your teams, of course, too. If you got people in your corner that's saying, hey, look, I don't know if this is going to really work out for you. Maybe you might want to, step back from this situation. You might want to take heed, especially if it's from someone that you actually trust. Or is it that people are just making a lot to do about nothing, That's the question. So yeah, I would love to know your thoughts on that. I'm so neutral on this situation because, J-Lo's not someone I really paid much attention to or followed like that. I mean, again, I like the rom-coms. Yeah, for the most part. And she's got a couple of good Netflix movies. And see, that's another thing that I thought was so mind-boggling, but maybe I shouldn't feel that way because, again, there's so many stories. So most people said that this was about to happen. This was going to happen. This was destined to happen, right? Because look here, I want to say late last year, she had a couple of movies out. One was like Mother, and maybe another one. I can't remember the other name. This is before the documentary. This Is Me Now, Then, and When. But she was riding high with those Netflix movies. There's at least 2 of them. And that was just last year. And so I figured, wow, what a great year she was having, right? I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And, I saw a couple of her videos that she did on Instagram where she was basically, just excited about what was to come. As far as I thought, she was in a happy situation with Ben. I mean, who gets to rekindle a relationship so many years later and, actually get down the aisle, get to the marriage vows, get the last name if that's what you want, and then within a matter of months it's like all dissipating. I don't understand. So I was really, really shocked about some of the stuff that was coming out. But some people would say, you know what, you shouldn't be so shocked because there's been things rumbling for years. And I mean, I'll be honest with you. There's a couple things that I questioned as well, more aligned with that. That situation in the late 90s that took place. Always did wonder if everything that we were being told was actually really what took place. And, it's not coming out to be, everything's not matching like it should. But, at the end of the day, I guess time will tell, and everything is all alleged right now. And we'll just see what happens, right? When it comes to anything like that at this point. But, this going into the situation for J-Lo has just been, I don't know, crazy. I mean, yeah, it's just really, I'm still kind of just surprised I'm even doing this video, to be honest with you, because it's not something I would expect to be doing on someone like her. I just didn't. I thought that everything was, she was riding high and everything was doing great, and sometimes, you can jump up to the highest of heights and then, boy, that crashes. Ooh, wait, that's something. But is she crashing? We don't know yet, right? I know that there was a tour that was supposed to be taking place, and now that's no longer happening. And then, of course, the marriage is, it's being reported quite often that there's trouble in paradise. I don't know if that's going to be what the end result is going to be of that, but I do know children are involved, and that's always a sticky situation to be in as well. So, yeah, I guess time will tell. But I came across a sharing from newsbreak.com and Showbiz Cheat Sheet that basically says this expansion of irritation is going beyond just those who she may have worked with or, met along the way. And we're now diving back into Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's relationship. So that's interesting. So let's just get into it, okay? So it says Matt Damon wants distance from Ben Affleck because of how Jennifer Lopez conducts herself. This is what sources are saying, and this is what Showbiz Cheat Sheet Newsbreak.com is reporting. So all things alleged. Apparently, the sharing is letting us know that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were childhood best friends who grew up together in the business. From divorces to difficulties in the industry, Damon and Affleck have always been by each other's side. Unfortunately, Affleck's been in the news in 2024 due to his marital struggles with Jennifer Lopez. Here's what a source alleged regarding Damon wanting distance from Affleck during his strife. Now it says again, Matt Damon reportedly wants to distance himself from Ben Affleck because of the conduct. Now, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck will likely maintain a friendship for life. They met when Damon was 10 and Affleck was 8. That's something I didn't know. As they are both Boston natives, they work on several movies together, including the Oscar-winning Good Will Hunting. Affleck and Damon clarified that they always plan to stick together through life's ups and downs. So pretty much like a brother from a different mother. Affleck and his wife, Jennifer Lopez, have an inevitable love story. I don't know why that didn't come out right. Maybe because I've done a lot of stories today. However, current rumors suggest that the couple is headed for a divorce in 2024. Affleck has repeatedly leaned heavily on Damon for support through the failure of his second marriage, alleged failure. While Damon has done what he can for Affleck, a source told In Touch Weekly that Damon wants distance from Affleck due to Lopez's conduct. Damon and his wife, Luciano Barroso, hope I said that right, reportedly spent more time with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. When it comes to couples time, there's just a lot less drama for Matt and Lucy when they're hanging out with Emily Blunt and John Krasinski than during the increasingly rare times that they get to sit down and hang out with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Yahoo says a source claimed just because of the way Jennifer conducts herself, even around her friends, she's a very hard person to let your guard down around. Whereas John and Emily are the definition of easygoing. And see, again, is this really truly what's going on, or are we doing a pylon, right? Who knows? All things alleged. Let's keep going. The source added that Damon can't get enough of Blunt and Krasinski. Despite his long-standing friendship with Affleck, Matt and Ben are planning to make another movie together in their near future, and that's taken up most of their time. But he's under no obligation to be part of Ben's personal pity party over whatever problems he's having with Jennifer or his kids, they continued. Okay? That's harsh. Let's continue. Yeah. So allegedly, Matt Damon had wanted to ditch Ben Affleck in 2018. So what was going on in 2018? Actor Matt Damon reportedly hoped to ditch Ben Affleck in the past. An insider told Radar Online in 2018 that Damon felt dragged down by his close association with a few unsavory names. He also felt dragged by Ben Affleck. After being dragged down by his close association with Ben and Casey Affleck and Harvey Weinstein, that's a name I didn't expect to see in this article, Matt is making a real effort to fix his name, the source alleged. She's going through a lot of restlessness, and due to also being middle age, and fixing his image was the kind of challenge he needed right about now. He's acquiring some stable, normal friends, and he can share the journey with. Despite this claim, Damon kept his close friendship with Affleck after 2018. Okay. Interesting. It's unclear how Matt Damon feels about Jennifer Lopez in 2024. She and Ben Affleck appear headed for divorce as they no longer live together. A source told Life and Style in April 2024 that Luciana Barroso, Damon's wife of 20 years, grates on Lopez's nerves. I think they mean gets on her nerves during hangouts. Lucy, or maybe they mean grates, but that's really meaning getting. Lucy thinks she's better than her, the source claimed, adding that Barroso and Affleck grew close through the years. The same source alleged that Affleck and Damon hoped to get their wives to like each other. The best friends wanted to go on vacations together. Ben and Matt think it would be a great idea if the four of them could jet to Mexico for a weekend, the insider had alleged. The guys can't force them, but they were getting awfully tired of the shenanigans or issues associated with not being able to get the two women together. And of course, that's all alleged at this point. Look, J-Lo is a pretty big star, right? I mean, she's around town, out and about, doing all kinds of things, always in different projects and everything. It can be pretty difficult, I would think, at times to be fully engaged in friendships with individuals who you may not be that close with. And let's face it, Ben was married to Jennifer Garner for quite some time. What is it, 20 years for that? Maybe 17, 16 years, something like that. And he's been close with Matt Damon all this time, like I said, from kids. So Matt Damon's been married for quite some time. He's got 4 daughters, I believe, with his wife, and they've been married for quite a few years. So, I would imagine Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck and Matt and Lucia, they probably hung out together. So, is that kind of tricky? It might be, when you have, these coupled trips that I'm sure they went on, because at the end of the day, Jennifer Garner, as well as Ben Affleck, as well as Matt Damon, they're all actors, actresses. So, they're in the same business, same field. I could imagine if those two are as close as they have said, and as close as it's always been spoken upon throughout the years, that those two couples, those four used to hang out a lot. And so it might have been a little, odd to throw in a switcheroo from J-Lo to Jennifer Garner. We don't know the things that might have taken place during the first union that J-Lo and Ben had, as far as how much confrontation or communication, lack thereof, that might have happened from the side of Matt Damon and his wife. I mean, you just never know. Maybe these are, tensions that are brewing, or maybe this could be all to do about nothing, so I guess time will tell on that. And I'll be honest with you, I was actually excited for Jennifer and Ben to get back together again. Like I said, I don't really follow her that much, but everybody is very versed in their love story to the degree of what we've, has been shared with us. And I believe in love. So I always did feel, and this is my thoughts, others may feel differently, but I always felt that, J-Lo was probably the one. Because if not, then why not have just ended that situation and kept moving on, or found somebody else? I mean, I know there's lots of sharings going on about Ben and who he's dated and all this kind of stuff. So, who knows? Maybe, it was a situation where it just happened to work out, and they decided, let's just try to give it a try, give it a chance. Talking about feeling a situation where you don't have enough closure. Well, this may be the closure that they needed. It's unfortunate though, because there are kids involved on both sides. This can't be easy to be going through this kind of situation, especially for J-Lo in the personal and professional life. But some individual again will say, look, if all the reports and claims that we are hearing and we are seeing are true about how it's alleged how she treats people, not being so nice, then not everybody's going to be as empathetic, to that situation. They're going to feel like, hey, you're getting what you get. This is what happens when you mistreat people. But at the end of the day, it's still a lot. And then also having the tax in the personal life, whatever's going on there. I mean, your spouse is supposed to be your support system, right? That's supposed to be the person you can go to. So if your spouse is, acting up or not interested, and then the whole world is looking at you because now either you are probably coming to terms with some things that you did in the past that you would have rather him not have and wish that you could go back and change. And then you still got to hold your head up and then still find some way, a sense of where is going to be my compass. What am I going to do now for the rest of my life? Am I going to continue on in this particular arena? Will people want to work with me later on? Are they going to believe everything that's being said about me? Have they been things that are true? And now I've got to sit here and deal with how I'm going to get around that situation because I've been able to get away with it for so long. I mean, of course, that's all alleged. It's just thinking out loud of all the things that could be coming about regarding this situation. How do you respond to this? I think at this point, maybe the best thing is for her to be out on vacation. I think she's on an Italian vacation right now as we speak. I wish I was out in Italy somewhere, but because she probably needs to get away because it must feel like quite the fishbowl here, especially in the States. So I guess more to come on that, but I was a little shocked to even hear that Matt Damon, as far as any thoughts of him having any opinions one way or another, being shared, was not something I was really even thinking about, to be honest with you. But if you were to take this situation, and let's just say putting into a real world situation with someone going through something similar, it doesn't have to be the exact same thing. Let's just say something difficult. And, you try to be there for your friend and, it becomes a very taxing situation. Then you have to decide how much peace are you willing to give of yourself in order to address this situation. So, that happens in real relationships, right? Not just the celebs. But I'm really curious to see how, J-Lo fares in this arena, especially on the professional side, because, her work to me, or what she felt she put into her work, seemed to be very important for her. And if nothing else, when the romance stuff wasn't working, she always had the work, right? She always had that. So if you don't have the romance situation, allegedly, if you don't have that and you don't have the work, then what do you have? I mean, she's got kids, yes, but we're talking outside of the kids situation because that's a different dynamic, isn't it? But let's just hope that all things will resolve in the manner in which they should, and people can move on from this particular place in life to better pastures, for sure. Because you can't stop living; you got to keep moving. You got to keep doing what you need to do. So pretty crazy, right? So definitely leave me your thoughts. I have heard all these things. I can't imagine that you haven't. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you're already thinking of a couple of things that you probably heard. But some of the stuff is really disheartening, and makes me like a little irritated. When I think about wow. So here I was listening to this particular song, and it wasn't even from this particular person, or I'm listening to one of the songs and I'm like, oh my gosh. And now I know who the person was behind it. And I'm like, yes, exactly. That's who they sound like. That this song actually fits this person. So it's crazy, but it also goes to tell you the lengths that people went through to get certain people in certain places that they are in. And, the okey doke is on us, I guess. Maybe not on all of us, because some people actually, some people had feelings about things and wasn't falling for that, but I just said just stuck with the movies. Honestly, just stuck with the movies, and leave the music alone, because I didn't even know the music was even a thing anymore until recently. So so let me know your thoughts on that story. So now the part 2 to this is that, well, not everybody appears to be jumping ship, all things alleged. She does have a possible ally. Yeah. Now I watch What Happened Live on Bravo quite often, and I have seen a couple of times where J-Lo actually was on the show with Andy Cohen, and she seemed pleasant enough. So, and Andy Cohen seems to really get a kick out of her because she's been there several times. So I think that he would probably have a little bit of a different extensive opinion about J-Lo, and that's what we're going to talk about. So according to People, Andy Cohen apparently speaks out in support of Jennifer Lopez, says there was no drama when she appeared on WWHL, What Happens Live. She's been lovely, Cohen said of the singer, adding that Lopez was game to answer any question he had asked her. Andy Cohen is speaking out in support of J-Lo. On Friday, June 21st, the TV host 56 addressed several criticisms about the actress and singer 54 that have been circling in the press for several days, including a recent Hollywood Reporter article that discussed Lopez's recently canceled This Is Me live concert tour and stated it was due to her unlikability factor. Yeah, because if somebody don't like you, they're not going to pay to see you. That's for sure. All right. Now, I mean, I don't think that's correct, Cohen said of the claim during Friday's episode of the His Daddy Diaries podcast. The Bravo Stars podcast co-host John Hill also chimed in to defend the Atlas, I don't know where alias from, actress, saying that she may not be catering to rabid fans. But now here's the thing about that. All of the reports that I've heard are not necessarily from fans, I don't think. Some of them are from people who said they've worked with her on different projects, who've known her in a capacity in which she was not even the J-Lo that we know. She was Jennifer Lopez from the blog. So, yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily, not, at least not my opinion anyways. And from what I heard, it isn't all just about fans. And from what some of the reportings and sharings that I've heard, and I'm sure a lot of y'all probably heard it too, there's a lot more going on than just that. So they want to struggle. They want you to cry on camera. They want you to be vulnerable to a performative, insane degree, Hill said. Now, this could be true for some people, because I will say, and this is void of J-Lo, I will say sometimes it seems like with fandom nowadays, I don't know if this is something that's always been the case. I don't feel like it is. I think that when social media came about and people thought that, they can kind of just come on and say whatever they want to say to people and all this kind of stuff, this is where this kind of came from. It's my thoughts. Let me know what you think about that. That there's this sense of like, we build you up. When I say we, I mean just collective fandom of somebody, name anyone, I don't care. Where they feel like, I put you in this place, right? It's because of me that you are where you are. It's because of me that you're a celebrity. It's because of me that you're a celebrity couple, because we pay the money to see you. We watch your movies. We watch, we. This is coming from a fandom perspective. And so once we feel like we have put you into a position, now we also can control when we're ready for it to come tumbling down. It's almost like a game, right? And I don't remember which celebrity that this connected for me, but I don't remember, but it was some time ago. And I was like, it's really interesting how some people really feel like they have some kind of say in what happens in your life. And so they feel in a way that they have this privilege, if you will, to, if I can, put you in, I can take you out kind of thing. So, yeah, so that right there is something that I thought of. Now, one thing that's interesting when he said about the performative, now he's probably talking that in general, right? Even though we were talking about one person. But one of the criticisms that I have heard about J-Lo was that she was a little too performative. So, I mean, here you go, taking a concept and trying to generalize it while speaking about someone specifically. And I think one of the main things about J-Lo, and there's many different things that have come about, but I would say, from what I gather, is that the transparency, honesty, and relatability are the things that seem to ring over and over again. Seem to be the things that they find very challenging when trying to describe J-Lo's interaction to them, how they feel she appears to be. So, and I haven't been in a close quarter situation with her. I've never seen a concert. I've never seen her in person. So I don't know how this person is. But a lot of people, are going to not be who you think they are. That's why, we shouldn't be worshiping celebrities. I mean, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be idolizing anyone. Idolize yourself. Idolize your life. Get yourself together. Do what you need to do, right? It's all cool to talk about, these kind of stories and stuff, because there's so awesome, really issues that not all of them are rich people's problems. Let's put it that way. These are things that you may experience in your own life. So, keeping that in mind, if you're not putting all the stock into somebody to the point that you're this disappointed when something goes down, your life is a lot easier. Because at the end of the day, they are people too. They just happen to have more money, maybe, than whoever, right? That's it. They're not, perfect. They're just because you are a celebrity or have money does not mean that you're a good person. We see that all the time. We're seeing it a lot in this year. So, and it's amazing how people do equate, not all, but some equate, you having money or being rich means you're a good person. That is not what it means. Sometimes it's a total opposite. So yeah, it's a rare find to find someone who seems pleasant and consistently that way, and that you hear that they're pleasant throughout all different interactions at different times with different people for different things. So, that's a rare thing to see. So yeah, but there is definitely a sense of that I felt too when it comes to, how some people feel like they can control a situation. And then, they want to see if whatever they do, whatever they say, how that affects you. Because, I want you to, honestly, I want you to perform, right? So perform. Yeah. Let's continue. Additionally, Cohen seemed to respond to a criticism of Lopez by Meghan McCain. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's a name that, I don't know if I'm maybe surprised that actually came out, because I think she had something to say too, and that's what they're going to reference here. Basically, she had claimed on an episode of her Citizen McCain podcast earlier this month that the Marry Me star was not nice as a guest on The View. And I remember seeing, I believe Megan, because I watched The View. I think Megan was on The View at the time when I saw J-Lo on there. Now, on camera, she seemed fine to me, but I don't know what happened behind the scenes, so I can't speak to it. But yeah, I think I may remember the time. I don't know. But she says, my friend said, well, I mean, she's pissed off a lot of people. Cohen recalled, referring to McCain's comment. Whatever, I go, let me say, she's been on Watch What Happens Live 4 times. This is Cohen. And she's been lovely and no drama. She was super game, he added, of Lopez's multiple appearances on WWHL over the years. The most recent, which was in 2018, I could talk to her about anything. And that's really, I've seen some of the appearances, not all of them, but that's kind of what I felt too. Like, it seemed like a normal show, nothing, happened. But again, we're in front of the camera. But now, just a side note, he did have a guest that it got a little tight on camera. So, but I haven't really seen that too often, and I didn't see it from her. So, but Cohen also took time to praise Lopez's performance skills, noting that when he saw her perform in Las Vegas, she put on a capital S show. People are mad at her for doing too much, she said. So it's like, well, okay, what's she supposed to do? Too little? I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know what he's saying here, but I would just say it just seems like, all to do about nothing. Lopez has been in the headlines in the past several months after Live Nation announced on May 31st, she was in the headlines and way before then, that she would be canceling her tour because she's taken time off to be with her children, family, and close friends. The news of her tour cancellation comes days after sources told People that Lopez's marriage to Ben Affleck is not in the best place at the moment. The couple, who rekindled their decades-old romance and married in 2022, have been living apart but spending time together at events with their children. Sources close to the singer-actress, who spoke with People earlier this month, said that Lopez was devastated to call off the summer tour, but needed the extra time to dedicate to herself and her loved ones. Life is a lot right now. As sad as she was to cancel the tour, she's also relieved she needs to take care of herself, the source said. The decision was something that her team encouraged, and the source added everyone is supportive of her focusing on her family right now. And quite frankly, of all the stuff that I heard, she really doesn't have a choice in the matter. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, at some point, you're going to have to step back and reevaluate some things. At some point, you're going to figure out what's your game plan, right? Like I shared earlier, what are you going to do? What is going to happen? How do I move forward from here? It's one thing, again, to lose a personal situation if that's what's happening. But if I'm now losing my professional, which at the end of the day, a lot of times for a lot of us, if things aren't working so great in a personal life, you rely on that professional. You rely on your work because that gives you purpose, it gives you meaning, gives you something to focus on other than. So if you don't have both, that kind of puts you in a corner, right? And again, for her, we're going to say minus the kids because let's face it, excuse me, if she is not in the best place for herself, how you expect her to be in her best place for her kids, right? And at the same time, consequences are consequences. So if, all those reports are true and accurate, and she hasn't been such a kind person over the years, well, it just happened to be now's the time of the reckoning. And, you have to deal with that. And if those are true, I guess at this point we have to say they're alleged, but if they were true, then you would have to find a way to make amends somehow. And I think that there's probably a way she could do it, but again, it would have to come across authentic as well, right? So if you feel like you didn't do these things, or this just, tabloid type of fare kind of thing, then, you're not going to see any way to make a change there because you're going to feel a certain way. So, this is definitely a job for a PR team, a crisis management team, someone that really knows how to craft things, get things together to make things make sense, but still be authentic. And I think that's what the most important thing is. I often say also that people love like they like a rags to riches story. Some like riches to rags stories. Sometimes we like a comeback kid too. Sometimes we like to see, someone who's been down and out, presumably out for the count, nowhere to go, and all of a sudden they rise like the phoenix. Is J-Lo going to be in that situation? Is 2025 going to be a better year for her? Is she going to be able to start to kind of recover and recoup from the things that are going on this year? Only time will tell. But I will say this, if lessons learned, if there has ever been any time in a situation where, you're not coming across in the most, I would say friendliest way that you can be. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to treat people right. So, if those things are something that, you lack with as a person, eventually it's going to come back to haunt you. And I'm not saying that's the case for J-Lo, I'm just saying in general, right? Eventually the chickens do come home to roost. But again, I was shocked about the fact that, we were going to be looking at reflection of J-Lo in 2024 in this way. Because when I tell you that it seemed like this one was riding high year after year after year after year, I did not expect the bottoming out, especially now. This seems to be the time where resurrection of other great things should be happening. And, and like I said, the movies, I've been enjoying them. Have you seen any of them? I just actually watched her Atlas movie, and I thought that was kind of, it was good. It was a Netflix movie, so it was good, I enjoyed it. I'd probably watch it again. Sometimes I like to, chill out on and watch a good movie, and so I chose to pick that because I wanted to see for myself if it was any good, and I thought it was. I haven't finished watching The Mother, and the Marry Me one, which actually was in theaters a couple years ago, around the time that we saw the resurrection of her in the relationship. I have not seen that movie. So if you've seen any of those movies or any of the ones she's done in the last 5 years or so, drop those down, tell me what you thought of them, and then tell me your thoughts. Of course, we want to keep it respectful and cool, because all things are alleged, of course, and again, I don't think that anyone should be afraid to speak their truth. So at the end of the day, if there are people that are hurting or feel that they've been slighted in any way, then they have a right to say if they have to stay. But of course, I don't know personally, and I wasn't really following J-Lo that much. So a lot of this was news to me. Like, wow. I mean, and I also think too, if all of those things were true, and of course, definitely going to say they're alleged at this point. If they were all true, it makes me wonder, like, how were you able to manage all these years without this kind of come down happening sooner? I mean, but there are some things that I've saw and some things I'm like, yeah, there's some questionable things there. So, blessings to everybody. Hopefully she'll be able to, do a comeback that makes sense for her and her family. And at the most part, as far as the personal is concerned and, the marriage and all that kind of stuff, I really do hope that things work out for her children in the best way possible, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that really are the most important, right? That's the ones you got to really look out for. I mean, we're all grown adults, if you're making, decisions that you should be making that are the best decisions for yourself, and you got to think about others. So, we'll just have to see how things go. So, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Please leave them down below so we can communicate. I'd love to know. And I think that'll about do it for this video. I do have one last upload today, so make sure you have your notification bells on so that you don't miss that story, and I think I'm only going to just do a single story for that one. So yeah, just make sure. But it is a bit of a continuation from one that I did a few days ago. So I hope you will be back for that. And hey, if you enjoyed the conversation, go ahead and leave a like, and I appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed and you are here for the first time, I hope that you will subscribe and be part of the family. And yeah, I will have to say I will bid you adieu on this video. And until next time, bye.